The battle against Kath is officially over. Leonis is begin to rebuild. We have the fates of Elizabeth, as well as the fact that we are now seeing some actual resolution to this current section of the story. And the next arc is being set up as the four Knights of the Apocalypse are finally back, and their story finally gets to come back into the fold as we get to follow the actual main characters. But things might be kind of bittersweet as it's time for the next generation to truly take their step in the limelight. But before we jump into this chapter, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos, and hype up the video as well if you're on mobile to help boost this in the algorithm so more people can check out these reviews and more info on Four Knights of the Apocalypse. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. And also, I am planning now, after this arc is concluded, a few non-review videos for Four Knights of the Apocalypse going forward, because let's be honest, I have kind of been slacking on those for the last few months ever since the Kath reveal. So I am going to do more videos like that. I do want to plan out a couple of things as well, like speculatory videos on what can happen in the future. So I am cooking up some stuff as well, so look forward to those in the coming future. And if you want to see what else I am cooking up outside the channel, go and check out my second channel, GW Comics, where I talk about comic books. Right now I'm very DC focused. Absolute DC is the bread and butter of what I'm talking about at the time, but some other stuff is going to be coming in slowly over the course of time, and I'm going to be talking about some comic book TV shows and movies going forward. It's a passion project of mine that I really appreciate if you guys go check it out whenever you get the chance. Link will be in the title card and the description. But now, all that aside, let's jump into why you're here. Chapter 232 of Four Knights of the Apocalypse, titled Inheritors of the Will. And the cover image is honestly kind of bittersweet, as it is an image of Meliodas and Elizabeth in their outfits from Seven Deadly Sins, the two of them together smiling. And we'll know why this is kind of bittersweet in just a second. But the chapter begins as the whiteness of the sky goes dark once more, with the stars reappearing. As we forget at the very beginning of this arc, when Kath appeared as Arthur,
he literally swiped away the darkness of night, turning it into a blanket light to give the illusion of daytime. As Arnazians realize this, that it's the middle of the night right now, how can we have forgotten this? As we
reiterate that, yeah, Kath was a pretty fearsome foe. Obviously, he was getting humiliated last chapter, but the point still stands, he was still relatively strong, all things considered. But we jump back to the large crowd of civilians, as Pelio and the rest of the Holy Knights are trying to get them together, saying that they are safe now, and they have food and beds and accommodations for them, so they will be able to look after them. And outside from that, we see that the kingdom of Darkmons and its castle are back. Now, if you forgot, which I don't blame you, it's been about 200 chapters since this was ever mentioned before. This is the kingdom that Griamore and Veronica were ruling, a neighboring kingdom to Leonis, where Griamore was king and Veronica was queen, with their son Tristan, Tristan's cousin. And all of a sudden, Kath basically just swiped that kingdom right off of where it was and just dragged it into Camelot to kind of expand his territory within the Chaos Dimension. And so we haven't seen hide or tail of them at all in Four Knights of the Apocalypse, outside of maybe a mention in some bonus chapters in the volume releases. So they are back, and now we get to see Griamore, Veronica, and their son Tristan in the series, probably thanks to the tie-in of Tristan also being a playable character in the Seven Deadly Sins origin game, which is currently available right now if you want to go play it. I played a little bit of it, it's fun. I haven't figured out how to stream yet, so the second I end up doing that, I'll try and stream that game, but I give no guarantees. But Margaret hugs her sister Veronica after literally them not seeing each other for well over 2 years at this point, because again, it's been over 2 years since the events of the Leonis arc at the beginning of this manga. But Margaret seems very off right now, as Veronica wonders what's wrong. As we get a haunting 2-page spread of the rubble of Leonis from the battle against Kath in the blackness of night, as we see the true devastation that the battle against Kath left the capital of the kingdom. As the Yan and King are talking about how this came to be, and the Yan is saying she's gonna have to just raise the ground with her magic in order to just wipe it clean so that they can rebuild from scratch, and King saying, well, things could have been much worse if it wasn't for Queen Elizabeth's powers. We'd all be screwed right now. But, yeah, Deanne starts to cry as King realizes that he probably shouldn't have talked like that, but as Deanne wipes her tears, she says, don't worry about it, but I'm sure the captain is the one who's taking it the worst. As we then cut to Gowther and Bond sitting at a fireplace, talking through a crystal ball to communicate with the four Knights of the Apocalypse, as Tristan picks up the line and sees in complete shock, wait, you guys beat King Arthur? That's amazing! You're not kidding me, are you, Gowther? As Gowther confirms, yeah, but to be precise, it wasn't actually Arthur. It was the demon Kath presenting itself as Arthur and was trying to control chaos from the inside. And to be even more precise, we beat him, but he is more than likely still alive. As last chapter confirmed, Kath couldn't be killed thanks to the power of chaos, but they left him the parting gift of eternal PTSD and trauma. So, take it and leave it. And Gowther says, look, if it was that easy to beat him, then we wouldn't have even sent you guys over to Camelot to begin with. I mean, look, they did beat him, and pretty easily with the conditions set pretty much beforehand and with Elizabeth's power and sacrifice. But I get what Gowther's saying. Kath ain't an easy guy to take down in general. He was pretty tricky once he found things out and was very sneaky. So I kind of get it. But still, they still kind of beat him after going all out pretty soundly. And with help from Deus Ex Pork. But anyway, Tristan and Percival are pretty ecstatic that they beat Kath. And are wondering what's going on. Because, Tristan does bring up the fact that he felt some weird sense of foreboding previously, around the time Elizabeth awakened to her supreme deity form, saying that he felt like something was off in Leonis. But they confirmed that nobody was killed in Leonis, so things are alright. And so Tristan says, okay, that's great. You guys keep amazing me. As the rest of the four knights are kind of arguing over Tristan hogging the communication device. But we then get an image of Meliodas and Elizabeth holding their younger version of Tristan in a painting, as he says, tell my mama and papa that we'll boldly carry out our mission, as Gowther confirms as they hang up. And this is where we turn over to Meliodas. And in a double-page spread, Elizabeth is in bed and her eyes closed, unconscious, with Meliodas having probably the most distraught stare he's ever had. We get one image of Elizabeth in bed, and another distant and cold look from Meliodas as he looks down at Elizabeth. And we then get Bond and Gowther talking outside of the bedchambers in the rubble of Leonis, as Bond asks what's going on with Elizabeth, as Gowther gives us the full rundown, saying that she is alive, her heart is still beating, but he doubts she'll ever wake up again, saying that Elizabeth continually released a magic power that only gods would normally be able to wield. She may be the daughter of the supreme deity, but her body is human. She has the unbridled powers of the goddess clan, but her body is still that of a human. And so using the powers of a god was a shock to her system. And Gowther is even surprised that she didn't even die from this. She's unconscious, and she probably will never wake up. So effectively, Elizabeth didn't die, but effectively she is pretty much catatonic. She might have used up all this power to shock from using all that godly magic to her last, drops of magic power. She might still be alive, probably because of a side effect of her healing powers. Maybe it kept her body from giving out. But effectively, her soul is practically done. Obviously, we could be doing a whole setup for a Sleeping Beauty type thing where Meliodas could wake her up with True Love's Kiss or something like that. If we do something like that, or Merlin will find out some way to wake her up. But effectively, Elizabeth could be considered dead. So that might be worse. Because now, despite all the sacrifice, trials, and tribulations over all these years, Meliodas and Elizabeth have one last life together, and now, this is a time where he might truly lose her for good after everything that's happened, and effectively, he can't really say goodbye or have any parting words with her. She's just catatonic in bed, and he's just, that Thousand Island stare gives you all you need to know. He's distraught, he's heartbroken, he's in a sense of despair despite beating Kath back and saving so many lives. Elizabeth is in probably one of the worst states she's ever truly been in, and that's gotta be devastating for him. But after the confirmation of Elizabeth's condition, Gowther says he's going to remain in Leonis to help out and asks what Bon is going to do next. Obviously, King and Deanna are going to stick around to help with the rebuilding, but Bon says he's going to head back to Benwick and tell everyone at the Fairy King's Forest what's up. But Bon's last words to Gowther before they part is telling him to take care of Meliodas for him. As we cut to a bit after they part, Bon leans over and begins to cough up blood, as we see Bon staring up into the sky, just jauntily laughing, and says, "For a guy like me, it's been the funniest life ever. From here on in, Lance, it's your turn." As we cut to the moon, and that's the last we see of Leonis and Bon, as Lancelot sneezes due to Bon mentioning him. Now this is pretty confident in me saying that Bon is going to die, because him coughing up blood confirms something. The damage that was done to him through rapid aging is not gone. He was being healed consistently by Elizabeth, and Merlin, previously before her doll that she was using magic through was destroyed, was keeping Bon from dying due to the accelerating aging and chaos magic that tried to age him to dust. And Elizabeth's powers kind of helped Bon's body just stay relatively healthy and not, decompose in the middle of a fight. But right now, Bon's body is probably getting aged back, and he still has the little inner organs and intestines and stuff like that of an old man. One that was literally coughing up blood just a few hours prior. Which means Bon is stuck like this. Unless someone can use time magic to reverse it, like meeting Merlin again, Bon is effectively, while his body is still physically fit thanks to Purgatory, inside, his body is breaking down. Which means we will get the death of Bon at some point, though it might not even truly be because of Lance. It could be just natural causes at the end of the day thanks to the chaos magic. Or another theory, Bon is breaking down, and once he quote-unquote is about to die, that'll be when Kath reemerges and possesses his body, using the power of chaos in a near undestructible human body that could potentially house that unbridled amount of power that chaos can have and make Kath stronger. That's a possibility. I kind of like it, I kind of hate it, I'm mixed on it. I can talk about that more in the future. But right now, Bon is literally giving a "You're next" from My Hero Academia, from All Might to Deku, to his son off screen. He's like, "Alright, Lance, my time's up. It's your time to shine." And that's the end of Bon for now. We cut away from Leonis as we cut back to Camelot, as Tristan and Percival are all giddy over the Sins being able to completely defeat the fake Arthur, aka Kath, saying, "Man, the Sins are so strong, I can't believe how much they consistently show how awesome they are." All while Gawain is kind of hovering over Lancelot's tongue like, rare to see the world's strongest man catch a cold. But Lance tries to reel in Percival and Tristan, saying, "Guys, were you listening to them? That wasn't Arthur. It was a cat faking it, and he's not even dead yet." As he kind of reels them back to reality, with Gawain hovering over some beaten down Chaos Knights, as she's like, "Hey, with that in mind, do you still want to keep getting in our way?" As literally these Chaos Knights they beat down, while they're taking this call from Gowther, heard Gowther say that Arthur was a fake and that it was just a monster. But they refuse to believe it. They are so ingrained in, Kath's whole indoctrination and lies, that the fact that they didn't see Kath turn from Arthur into Kath with their own eyes, well, yeah, that's going to be hard to believe. And this also does confirm that that the Chaos Knights are still in Camelot, but something else is going on, as have they been left behind in the rubble. And it shows that this isn't going to be some careful cakewalk that no one's going to be around to get in their way, even if it is now at this point an inconvenience and an annoyance with the level of strength that the average Chaos Knight tends to have. But Lance starts walking away and says, "Alright, look, you guys can just keep rotting over there forever if you want to keep finding us, but if you want another shot at me, go ahead, I'll beat your ass every time." As with that, the four knights continue on their journey through Camelot. As we then get farther and farther away from the group as we see on a nearby mountaintop a few silhouettes, as we then get a double-page spread of what appears to be the mysterious knights foretold in Bartra's vision. These incredibly cool looking, what I don't even think are Chaos Knights, are staring down at the 4 Knights of the Apocalypse. And I'm not gonna lie, their designs look really, really damn cool. They look awesome, and I just can't wait to see. It's another 4 Knights. Unless like this silhouetted figure is a plant, it might be a 5th person. But it looks like 4 powerful Knights. As the last page of the chapter is these characters saying, those are the 4 Knights of the Apocalypse, the targets that we must take out, as the last page is of the 4 Knights continuing their journey. Now, really quick, that 2-page spread with what we're going to be called the Destined Knights does seem to be unfinished based off that one silhouette that I told you about in that double-page spread. During the volume release, when this chapter ends up coming out, chances are Nakaba is going to redo this and add more detail in order to show us more of this group. But either way, the next group of antagonists is being set up for the Quest for Arthur arc. Until we get an actual real name for this arc. I'm calling it the Quest for Arthur or the Fated Knights arc. Either way, great chapter all around. I don't really have much in terms of criticism. I would have preferred Elizabeth just, dying right off the bat. The explanation Gother gave for why Elizabeth is in a coma, practically catatonic, and still alive, quote unquote, is because her body is human. Makes sense. She was reincarnated into a body of a human due to the curse countless times. And this is the one incarnation where she has all of her goddess powers and memories and has lived for many years and now has truly used her true potential. And that was just a big shock to her body system, too much for a human body to handle, thus her basically being catatonic. Will she wake up again? I kind of hope not, because that would kind of take away any more stakes from this arc. Granted, other parts of the stakes of this arc is Bond seemingly still slowly dying due to the advanced aging, as that wasn't undone by Elizabeth or anybody else in the area. Merlin might be able to do it, but she is hidden somewhere keeping the real Arthur safe. So for the time being, Bond's just going to slowly wither away until something else happens that could maybe save his life, or he does die in like one final epic fight or something like that. We got to see some characters that have been in the story for a bit. Leonis is going to start to recover. Meliodas is definitely probably the most distraught he's ever been. Like, this is probably the first time he's really had this sense of, like, despair, foreboding, and just that 1,000-yard stare is just insane. Probably the first time he's felt that since the curse was broken, and now he's probably getting all those 3,000 years of trauma and loss hitting him all at once, as now Elizabeth effectively is technically dead, despite being technically alive. And my god, I feel for the man. I am very concerned for what could happen to Meliodas in the future, as this could lead him down to spiral for all we know, unless Tristan can reel him back and the two of them kind of come together for the quote-unquote loss of Elizabeth. And lastly, the 4 Knights are still venturing on to where Arthur is being held by Merlin to help them, and we finally get the Destined Knights from Bartra's prophecy. What they're going to do, what's going to happen with this arc, I have no clue. It seems like there are 5 of them based off of how the double-page spread is, but for all we know, that silhouette-like thing probably isn't one of the Knights, and they're probably going to be introduced at some later point down the road in the future. That could be it, and we're just getting introduced to 4 of them, and the 5th one would be probably a big surprise for all we know. But their designs look really damn cool, and I will admit, they do kind of look better than the 4 Perils for the most part. Beltrup, Worldane are definitely the best looking in terms of not just with armor, but without armor. Pelgard's is fine, I like him. Ironside is definitely the dumbest and goofiest. But still, these knights look a bit more threatening than the 4 Perils, but we have to see. We don't know what these characters are, we don't know what their true goals are. Are they Chaos Knights, or are they from somewhere else? Are they guardians that Merlin recruited, or is this some mysterious 3rd party, or 4th party I guess, to intervene in the story and make things a bit more complicated? We got no clue. Also, confirmation if we really needed it, that Kath is 100% still alive, and all that jazz. So yeah, either way, 4 Knights are back in the story. They are back to lead the plot, and I am excited for it. And you guys should be too, because we had a really fun, roughly 10 chapters of the Sins fighting Kath, and it was honestly a lot of fun, despite obviously the back and forth plot contrivances. That's a video in general. I'll talk about this arc in a different video going forward. But either way, it was a fun arc. It was nice to see the Sins show that they're just as strong as ever, if not stronger. And we're getting set up for the next generation to really take the reins once more. And I'm excited. But leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of what's going on in the series so far? And what do you think is going to happen going forward in the future? I definitely want to make a video on these Fated Knights and what they could give to the story at some point, so look forward to that. I plan to make at least one video on that before the next chapter, or around the time that chapter comes out. So look forward to that. And with all that said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you all have an awesome day.